City. This is the Geekwave.
Let me try again. Hello, world, and welcome to the Geekwave. I am George here with
the Nushwanderer.
And X. Hello! Good morning, Vietnam! Yeah. It was
pullback.
That intentional?
It
Good
was.
pullback.
All right. So, welcome to, what episode are we on? This is like my first full-on episode that I've been on a Geekwave episode. Is it?
We've lost track of numbers at this point, let's be honest.
I know we're around.
Welcome to an episode, guys.
Episode 7X, the big one you've all been waiting for.
I want to say it's like almost episode 80.
We're almost there. We're close to episode 80.
I don't know. Just keep going.
I'm sorry. I
Anyway.
should know these things.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Anthrocon and my experience out in the good old grand city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the end of
With
June.
the furries.
Yep. A weekend with the furries. And let me tell you, they have a lot of stuff out there, dude. For lack of a better term, it's like a giant frat party. I'm not going to lie. I went to this thing
giant
expecting
furry frat party.
people who wanted
In
to
all
be
ways possible. Sorry.
I'm thinking of a
But in
bunch
all
of different...
seriousness, though, it was a very interesting experience going from the Comic-Con circuit out to the furry con circuit. I was kind of expecting it to be a totally different thing, but you know what? I think it was actually a totally different experience from a Comic-Con in a good way.
So what were the parts that were similar and different?
So parts that were similar, they had what they call a dealer's den and not the vendor floor. So the whole weekend I looked like a dum-dum because they kept saying, hey, what are the vendor floor hours? And everyone was like,
Hashtag dum-dum boy.
what do you mean by vendor floor? And I'm like, oh, that's right, dealer's den. I'm coming from the Comic-Con circuit. I'm new to this. Please be patient with me. The registration process was entirely different from Comic-Con. Whereas Comic-Con, you go, you buy your tickets, they'll mail you out your wristbands, and it's all tracked by RFID. These cons are kind of old school, and they'll print out your badges, and it's like a pinup badge that you wear on your person. And so they check for that badge, and they're not having you tap in or tap out or verifying everything like they do at Comic-Con. Let's see, another kind of difference from Comic-Con is the lack of commercialism. So if you've been to any Comic-Con recently, you know that there are big companies there, like big vendors.
Microsoft, you got Gaming
CenturyLink.
Thrones. Yeah.
And something that I admired about Anthrocon was they emphasized a lot on smaller businesses and artists and smaller vendors, which was really unique. There was a lot of stuff that you could only get at that convention versus at Comic-Con,
Well, you can get
I can buy that shirt,
yeah.
but I can buy that shirt online too.
Well, some of them you can only buy at Comic-Con.
That's true. And they had I'd say the large majority of stuff at Anthrocon was you could only buy it at the convention. Kind of another difference from Comic-Con is their Artist Alley. This was actually more of a Pittsburgh thing and not the convention's fault at all. So I think they did a great job for what they had to do. But out here, you go to Artist Alley and you buy a commission or you buy a piece from an artist. You do it with them directly out here. You don't have to deal with the taxes. Apparently, Pittsburgh is very interesting about their tax stuff. So artists have to register with Anthrocon, and they hand you a ticket after you buy something, and you have to wait in line to go pay them up at this central register sort of thing. And apparently, I don't know how it works 100%, but I think the artists get recompensated in the end. It's just easier to manage it through Anthrocon than having each artist apply for a permit.
Especially if you have to do tax.
Oh, exactly.
Especially.
And that's something that got me because I'm so used to going to our Comic-Con and just buying everything.
You hand them a 20.
You hand them a
get three
20.
things you want
Out
away.
there, they charge you the tax, and it's oh,
Technically speaking,
Taxes.
they have to charge you the tax if you don't pay in cash.
that's true. And they did that there. I had a few vendors. I'm not going to say who they are for their sake, but they're like, if you pay me cash, I'm not going to charge you tax.
Yeah.
So obviously, I felt very good.
There's a
Obviously,
little-
I'm gonna hand you a couple 20s here, and
There's a
you're
certain
gonna forget
thing
you
with
saw anything.
there's a certain glory that comes with pay under the table kind of deal.
Oh, definitely. And I
Yeah.
mean, there was something
I mean,
you.
it's called the dealer's den. Let's be honest. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I know. But in all honesty, it was a very interesting experience, getting to talk with the people in the dealer's den. A lot of them really loved getting there and kind of talking to the people that they interact with online. Another thing that got me too was something similar to our Comic-Con. You know how Dan and Brian will bring the governor to our Comic-Con and the governor will give a speech. So the Pittsburgh City Council sent a representative from their tourism board who had a message from the mayor, and they declared that entire weekend an Anthrocon holiday weekend, which was kind of like really cool to me. Like, I didn't know that the city loved this convention that much, but this city, let me tell you, they love this convention. They love everything about it.
Money. It brings so many people.
It does. Oh, totally.
It's just like, it's the biggest gathering of the furries.
It really, and I mean, from what I heard statistically, it's the biggest consumer show Pittsburgh hosts. So there's an anime con that comes in second place, but this is their biggest consumer show that's not the steel industry convention that they have every year. So, and another thing I noticed too was a lot of the guests are very friendly. People are very nice to you. Like, there were a couple of times where I'm like, I have no clue where I'm going, what I'm doing. And I'll admit, there were points that weekend. I probably was running on an average of 2.5 to 3 hours of sleep every night.
When you got back, you were just gone.
Oh, yeah. I didn't come to our KUT meeting that Monday because I got in midnight that night. But, you know, it takes a toll on you. Like, it's a very exhausting weekend.
Cons in general take a toll on you.
I'll be honest.
Cons out of state, even more so.
Oh, yeah. No, when you're out of state and you're flying back, it's like, all right, I'm on this 3-hour flight to Denver from Pittsburgh. Once I get into Denver, I have a 2-hour layover. I just want to go home. And then, oh, your flight's delayed by like 20 minutes. And I'm like, ah. So I'm sitting in the Denver terminal coming home, and I'm like, oh, I want to go home. I want to go sleep. Literally, I got home that night, and my head hit my pillow, and I was out, and I slept for a solid 10, 11 hours. It was...
Good. You deserved it.
Oh, yeah. It was the best sleep of my life.
Okay.
I'd say the only other time I felt that tired was covering Comic-Con with you guys.
Yep.
So questions.
Okay.
Questions?
Who's the best person you met? I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, that's a hard question. I mean,
You don't have to pick one.
I met Uncle Kage. He's the head of the whole convention. I got a picture with him.
He's an interesting guy.
I respect him.
He's an
I
interesting
really
guy.
respect Kage in that the work he puts into this convention, his heart is in it. That entire con staff, like, it shocked me how much their heart is into this thing. And like, I felt like it's more magical in a way than like our own Comic-Con because, you know, I met Dan, I met Brian at our Comic-Con, and they're great guys, but obviously they're making money off of our con.
They are most definitely in it for the money.
They're making
be
Mondo
honest.
bucks. Let's be real. Whereas Anthrocon, it feels like it's more for the social aspect, so they're coming more from the heart, I feel, rather than the let's make a big profit. And I mean, I'm sure they're...
Like,
I'm
they,
not sure
they don't
they're a
really care
nonprofit
whether
or
or
not.
not it becomes like absolutely massive. They
Well,
just care that they can
just
get it
care that
as
it's
big as
that
they
it's
can
enjoyed.
for the...
They care that it's enjoyed. And I mean, they're very good about keeping their image positive. And I think from what I saw that weekend, a lot of my expectations, I didn't run into things that I wasn't expecting. I think they do a fantastic job at making them look positive. And like, you know, I was expecting, when you hear furry convention, I know you're usually thinking furries. But what they showed me was a very positive kind of, I don't mean that in a pun way either. Viewers at home, please, if you do, email me. I'm willing to listen to your flack. But it was a very positive experience.
That's a bold statement.
A lot of people were just happy to be there. Like, there was a point, I had a fursuit there, and I did march in the parade, and I thought, oh, the parade is going to be kind of this weird thing. No. The whole city, this is what got me. It went outside, and there were people on the streets, like, lined up for this thing, and I'm like,
Yes.
really? This is happening? And, like, they were happy there, and I'm like, whoa, this is, like, shocking to me that people turn out for this. And, I mean...
Weren't you also
It's like-
shocked on
it's-
the after party?
I was shocked, too. I left...
that parade. It's like the updated version of that, like, you know, walk through the school with your Halloween.
Oh,
costume
exactly.
on kind
It
of thing.
really is. It's that, but for yuppies.
But for furries.
Yuppies.
Yuppies.
Yuppies. No, I'm kidding. But,
Yuppie
you know,
puppies.
it was like an emotionally touching moment. I'm not going to lie. Just seeing like the interactions between people. It's something that like I don't think I've seen at Comic-Con because you go to Comic-Con and obviously
It's all about the commercialism.
it's all about the commercialism and everyone sticks with their own fandom. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Whovians don't talk with Trekkies, etc.
Yeah.
Everyone's split up on their own team, but out there everyone's on the same team, so it's kind of like a totally different vibe.
Well, it's the same thing when you go to like anime bonsai and stuff. Like, yeah, sure, there's going to be some people who are solely there for like the get together for Gurren Lagann. Some people are
Right.
only there for the Sailor Moon thing. And like everyone has like their kind of niches, if you can call it that. But then everyone has at least like by
There-
extension.
There's one thing in
Yeah,
they're
and
unified.
that's anime.
Exactly. And I mean,
Like no one's gonna go to the con or not con anime bonsai and go like I hate everything that like Studio Ghibli
right.
has ever done. Like one, no one would be that reckless with
no
their
one
own
would do
life.
that.
And,
Yep.
yeah,
You don't say that about
you die,
Studio
let's be
Ghibli.
honest.
So like even
You walk into the middle
Yeah.
of the furry convention and like, I don't like furries. You're gonna get mobbed.
Well, basically,
gonna
it's
get
going to be
punched
like,
repeatedly.
why would you go?
yeah,
If that were
like
the
everyone's
case.
just gonna look at you and go like, then why are you?
But you know,
here?
something else that got me too at the convention that I thought was really interesting was their kind of security setup. So keep in mind, this was my first ever like non-Comic-Con convention. So
We
I
were
went
so
in,
proud of him.
I went in without a clue of what I was going to see. And you know, it was very positive. So for security, they have this group. Look up the Dorsai regulars. I want to be like these people when I get older. So these guys have been doing convention security for sci-fi cons and gatherings
I like
since
how
the
you
70s.
do finger guns with those when you're going like
Sci-fi
security.
fans. Yeah, security.
But like, what's really interesting about them is these guys, a lot of them, like, they're sci-fi geeks. They're not furries, and they're doing security detail at a furry convention, and they do it at a bunch of other conventions. And it kind of made me think, like, is this like the Swiss Guard at the Vatican? How they have Swiss soldiers guarding the Pope? They're sci-fi fans guarding furries. But I thought it was very interesting, very cool. Some of them are furries, though, and I sat in on a panel on furry zines, which was a very interesting topic, being that, you know, my field of study is in journalism, and I'm like intrigued by a lot of these subcultures and like how they formed. And like throughout the late 80s, early 90s, I bought a few copies of these zines and I was going to bring them in. But that's how the community would communicate prior to like the internet becoming a big thing. And like these comics, it's so interesting to see kind of how it is today versus how it was then. Then it looked more like a sci-fi offshoot. Like they were all sci-fi geeks who were interested in a particular subset, whereas now it's its own thing. It's morphed, definitely. And I mean, that was another thing I noticed at the convention too, was there's an obvious generational gap, I'd say. I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's almost like a modernist versus postmodernist sort of thing. You obviously, you know who the modernists are and who the postmodernists are. And they kind of
Usually involves LEDs,
what?
LED lights.
It could. I guess. But what I'm getting at here is like the attitudes are different, but they're all unified under the same thing. So it's cool to see them get together. And like even artistically, like the art is different between the modernists and the postmodernists. Kind of like in the real world, guys. Huh? Isn't that interesting?
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Things parallel real world. What?
Things parallel
What
mainstream society. But I mean, in all seriousness, though, it's a fantastic convention. I would really recommend, if you're in that area or if you're into like being a furry, go out there. Like you're not gonna lose your money. You're gonna have a great time. I really think it was a neat experience. Something that I think I'm gonna go to next year for sure. I mean, that con knows how to run a con. I'm 100% being honest with that. I like our Comic-Con, but I don't think it feels as special as Anthrocon did. I know, and I'm getting like cheesy.
There's
and
a certain level of quality that comes from just knowing exactly what you are and what you're doing.
Exactly.
I'd say it's the difference between like Gaming Con and Comic Con.
Yeah.
Right.
Comic Con's there to make money. Gaming Con's there to celebrate games. Let's
Right.
be honest.
Exactly. Comic-Con is almost like,
It's love versus money.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this. So all these
With
little
fan X
fandom
being
cons,
right.
it's like being in high school. That's where you go with your clubs. But the Comic-Con is like the prom, the big
Yeah.
show up.
Big
Everyone's
one, yeah.
there. Everyone's there. It's like prom. All the
All the
subcultures are
peoples.
there. The jocks, the nerds.
Even the people that don't necessarily enjoy the stuff there, but they go there for the experience.
Exactly.
It's
I mean,
prom. You gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
in a way,
Comic-Con, you gotta
in
go.
a way, it kind of is like that. I mean, I like our Comic-Con. I think Dan and Brian do a fantastic job running that convention, and like they're
Sorry, I just ended up getting the analogy in my head and stuff to where it's like, you know, if you went to the prom and you didn't really want to be there, you just went with your friends and you hung out in the back room near the basketball court. Well, in this one, you just go to Artist Alley and you just go up and down and you buy merchandise.
Yep. And you
Yep.
leave. Yep. Welcome to Comic Con.
that's Comic-Con. Comic-Con is like if you're going for solely buying stuff, but like you go to these other fandom cons, like Anthrocon, you go because you want to see your friends there. And I mean, to all my online friends watching right now, hi, hello everyone.
We
Very
give you
good
a
to see
shout out.
We're
Not
gonna
a
give you
call out,
shout
but a shout out.
A shout out. Call outs are different. That if you listen to my show, which I know a lot of my online friends do, or so I hope. You know the difference between a shout out and a call out. But no, honestly, it was really cool getting to meet a lot of my friends
Call out
from the
to
internet.
the peanut and Coke thing.
There's a story behind that. I'll tweet it. You'll see it on Twitter probably before this comes out. But anyway, like getting to meet your online friends is kind of a special thing too, because like in a way, your real life friends are cool people. Like you guys are cool. I like you guys. But
Thank
like
you,
your
George.
online
We think
friends,
you're pretty cool too.
but your online friends are always like there. You can chat with them over a long amount of time and they're like, hey, you went away for a while. That's okay. I get how it is. And like finally get to meet them. It's kind of like you already knew each other. So you're like, oh, hey, what's up, man? You don't even skip a beat.
Do you
It's
have any?
like,
You have any weird ones where you're like, I thought you were male?
no,
No, not that quite.
no. Honestly, all my friends are exactly like how they were. We would have weekly Skype calls and
Oh,
everything.
okay,
So,
fine.
you know.
you got to see them. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Well, in a way, we did. And then we hung out. Like, I got to the airport, got picked up. And I'm like, oh, hey, it's you, Wheat. Good to see you, man. Oh, hey, it's you, Aiko. Good to see you too, man. Let's go to baggage claim. And like, we had a fun time guessing who was here for the convention and who wasn't. When I got to Chicago Midway, I went to the gate for my flight. So there's a whole story about this. I ordered a char dog there, and some guy, keep in mind it's Chicago, some local guy yelled at a tourist for taking too long to order a hot dog. So I'm like, just give me a Chicago dog, give it to me whatever way is the fastest for you. And it was pretty good. Went to my gate, hung out. I bought a Cubs hat that I'm not wearing right now because I just had to. It's to
You were
prove
there.
I've been there.
It was there.
It was there.
You
I was
had
like,
money.
exactly. I was like, let's blow some money right now. But I got to the gate and just sitting there and guessing, yeah, you're definitely going to this convention. You might be. Like, I saw a guy with a Persona 5 bag, and I'm like, this guy might be going to the convention. And then,
Or you
lo
just
and
may
behold,
be a
he was
Persona
there.
5 fan.
And then there were some people who were bringing their fursuit stuff on the plane. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
just thinking, like, you're carrying that on with you? What I did, I bought, like, an action packer, and I put luggage locks on it and, like, put a strap on it. And I'm like, that should hold. This will hold. I put fragile stickers everywhere. I watched the Southwest employees unload it. Southwest Airlines, this is a shout out to you. Good job with your baggage handlers. They treat fragile items like fragile items. And that makes me quite happy. Because, I mean, you know, you spend a lot of money on that stuff.
Your fursuit made it nicely.
It did. It made it safe to Pittsburgh.
Good.
Picked it up.
Speaking of fursuits, though, finish your sentence. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, let's get right
so
to it.
what was your like top 3 favorite fursuits? And I say that because I think I know one of them that you ended up finding at Anthrocon.
That's actually a hard question. I love the Japanese-made fursuits. Quite honestly, there's like an obvious stylistic difference between American fursuits and Japanese fursuits. Excuse me, X. I'm talking. We're good. But, I mean, the artistic differences between the two is really cool. Like, some American suit makers will stick towards a more toony style, and I'm more partial to that. Others look really realistic, and for me, that's like, I'm not a big fan of it. Like, I respect that kind of work, but it's just not what I personally...
It's just weird.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's just
uncanny.
no.
I wouldn't say
no,
weird.
No,
I'd say
no.
uncanny valley, because it's like,
Again, just no.
it's a little too lifelike. But
no.
going back to that, there's some really great made Japanese suits. These two suits are fantastic. The Japanese made ones, if you notice, they kind of have more of an anime style towards it, and I'm a sucker for that. I love kind of the big eye look that
So
you get
wait,
with anime
Oh,
stuff.
If there was a
Kawaii.
furry anime, you'd be all over that. I'm assuming, yes.
Well, I mean, that
there
stuff
kinda
exists.
is one,
yeah.
yeah.
There is good furry anime. Let's be honest.
Debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable. But yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the media, like the Japan's put out with anthropomorphic characters, and that's another thing you have to understand too.
Like Kaneko's friends?
Yeah, like it's interesting.
How many
People are different to it.
Cosplays were there. How many did you notice were like
Cosplaying.
not just
I saw
fursuits,
I
but-
saw a Craft Punk cosplay. I saw a few Zootopia cosplays, obviously.
You
Hi,
have to.
Jerem. You pulled that off at Comic Con. If you're
No,
watching,
he didn't pull it off. Oh my gosh, no.
is this a call out to Jerem?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Jerem, if you're watching, X is calling out your cosplay at Comic-Con. But, no, there were some people who obviously made their suits after characters that were in media. Like I said, the Zootopia ones. Craft Punk, which is one of my favorite. It wasn't a fursuit. you know Kraft Punk, right? Kraft Punk, it isn't anything to do with the fandom. It was just some guy like joking around, obviously.
Okay, that. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are we talking like the actual fursuit?
Like, no, he was wearing an orange, what is it? Morph suit with the orange jacket.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He was joking around. So, I mean,
It was
some,
great, though.
some people cosplay. I know one year this guy cosplayed as the spy from Team Fortress 2. And he was in the full getup, but his mask was a fursuit, like, head printed on it. And I kind of thought, that's kind of a unique suit. I've never seen that before. A lot of them are well made. Like, it's shocking the quality of some of these suits. And so when I was lining up, they did
It's
a
a
giant
full-time hobby.
Oh, it really is. They did a giant. I learned quick. There was so much heat gear I had to buy. The only thing I bought here was Under Armour like underwear because I thought,
This breathes.
it's gonna be hot. I need this. It breathes. No, I needed Under Armour. I needed the balaclava, like the full-on Under Armour head thing,
Just install fans.
and a fan. Dude, I got a fan.
No, yeah, some guy ended
Some
up
guy gave me a
handing him
fan.
one.
This was like 2 a.m. in the hallway between the hotel and the con center, and he was coming from the rave, and he's like, "You look like you're pretty hot, man. Here, take this fan. I own like a bunch of these," and I'm like, "These are like $30 a piece. I don't care, dude.
Here you go. Have it.
Have it." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's kind of
That
cool."
right there, like if you were to give one example of
That's
the
totally-
like kind of camaraderie that
Like
you
the
get
altruism
in-
you get
yeah.
with them. There's a big sense of altruism.
just like,
with that
dude, I
community.
get you're hot. I've been there. Take this fan.
Exactly. It's almost like
It's like those guys that rock around Comic-Con with duct tape strips. Like, I get it. It fell apart. Here's some help.
exactly
Yeah.
like the cosplay first aid. But I mean, it's very interesting because there's also rooms where you go, they kind of don't want you taking off your head unless it's like an emergency because they want to keep the magic going.
Of course.
So there's a room called the Headless Lounge, and I went in there, and this room,
You just imagine how like weird it must.
well,
look.
they have like a tree of pipes with like air that blows in to dry your head. So this picture of George Lucas and Liam Neeson is how you feel when you're in that lounge. And this is how you feel. Like, I had to have a friend with me kind of spotting me because you have blind spots. When you go into the Headless Lounge,
Yeah.
you feel just
Yeah.
like that. You're holding your water, you're watching your thing dry out, and
This is going to be a really picture-heavy episode.
it is.
Good.
You guys are going to see a lot of content. Maybe we can do like a slideshow of some highlights and
we'll
stuff.
actually try to be seeing whether or not we can create like a little package or something when
For
we
sure.
end up releasing this because George also got an interview.
I got an interview. Oh, this is
with
fun.
one of the people, and we'll be.
If
You
you
can
know-
like
if-
show. You can like tease it a little bit here, but we're gonna try to see if we can actually give a like.
all you need to
another
know-
release for the whole thing as well as like a slideshow.
I tried that
gallery.
whole weekend to get Boozy Badger to interview me, but he got so busy because he's like now very popular.
a busy
person.
guy now.
He's a busy guy now, but long story short, there was some drama in the furry fandom. I don't want to get into that right now. And he's like a real life lawyer who got dragged into it. And then someone made him a character, someone made him a fursuit, someone made him like a bunch of crap, and now he's been dragged into it almost against his will. And I interviewed him a couple Saturdays ago, and it's going to be a good interview. You guys are going to like it. NSFW warning, though. He drops a couple F-bombs in there, but
So we will be marking it as like not safe for work.
yep. But his
So.
his perspective of it is very interesting, being a normie going into it. Well, I mean, I was almost a normie going into it, too.
Let's be honest.
Like,
You're a meme lord. You're not normal.
I'm a meme lord furry, dude. I'm the farthest
Normal
thing
is
from normal.
Like, not. Yeah.
I mean, I'm the farthest thing from normal, dude. I think I might be the weirdest one of the Geekwave.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
Eh,
We're all
debatable.
quirky. We're all quirky. We've all got.
Okay.
George
we're all
is
quirky and
George
you're
is just
weird.
his
Let's
own
stick with
brand.
that.
I'm my own brand.
Yeah.
Any
But
closing remarks, George?
I say go to Anthrocon. I want to say, you guys did an excellent job running it. I'm very impressed with your convention. If any of you guys are watching,
Applause.
I love your convention. Like, dead serious. I think this might be my new favorite convention that I'm going to look forward to every year. I think I'm going to put more money in my budget for this convention than I do for Comic-Con, if I'm being
Ooh, snap.
dead honest.
Well, I mean, you got to fly to it, so.
yeah,
You
that's
have
true.
to, let's be honest.
But I mean, even flying
No,
out there,
there's-
this is what
There's
got
your,
me.
There's your budget to get there, and then there's your budget
There's
to
your
go
budget.
once you
But
get
get
there.
this.
there,
Yeah.
your budget for back.
Flying out to Pittsburgh is cheaper than Seattle from here, and it
Yeah,
makes no
it's true.
sense to me. I did not get it. I was like, really? It was this much to fly out to Pittsburgh? I have to pay twice that to go to Seattle almost.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh is the new Northwest, guys. And you know what? A thank you to the city of Pittsburgh, too. I actually, just to close out here, I got an interview with the owner of a restaurant out there that they call Fernando's, and this guy changes it every year for the weekend for the FurryCon, and they call it Furland Cafe or whatever. And
Furlando.
And the guy, I was thinking that too. But I interviewed that guy too, and he said that this convention has been like a very big thing for his business. Like the businesses out there love furries because they make money. And that's the interesting thing about this convention. Like I said, I mean, you look at a lot of the other conventions, and they're out in hotels by the airport, and there's nothing out there. You're stuck in the hotel convention center. Their con,
Downtown Pittsburgh.
their con is downtown Pittsburgh. And I mean, Jack's told you a story about that, hasn't he? Like he was in downtown Pittsburgh.
He was in downtown Pittsburgh with his dad, and they just finished eating dinner. It's like 11 o'clock. And one of the after parties is getting out, and his dad is just staring in pure shock. And Jack's just like, "Yep, welcome to Pittsburgh."
Oh man, that's funny. I mean, that sounds like Pittsburgh. But the thing that's interesting is, similar to our con, it's right in the heart of their downtown. And I mean,
It just helps everyone around
there's
it.
so much
And
to
I mean,
do.
It's also in the heart of Pittsburgh. Let's be
Exactly. And I mean, you know, even though the hotel and the convention center is definitely quite a bit a ways from the airport, I think it's the best location. I would much rather be right there in the heart of Pittsburgh than in Moon Township and saying, I'm kind of in Pittsburgh. So I'm actually going to MFF end of November, early December, which is supposedly the new big con. Like, basically, we're at a point right now where Anthrocon and MFF might have the same exact attendance numbers, or maybe slightly more at
Same
MFF.
way Salt Lake Comic Con is stealing from San Diego. Right?
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting because this convention is out in Rosemont, right by O'Hare International, and it's not near the city. So I'm definitely going to
see what happens.
I'll give you guys insights. I'll compare the two, obviously, and then we have our small furry convention end of October here, Anthro Weekend Utah, which is going to be an interesting convention too.
We'll see what happens. We'll get those updates in another episode.
We'll do a big, I guess, end of the year roundup of the three.
Here's what George thinks of the FurryCon.
Here's what I think. And then Comic-Con, obviously. That's going to be an
Well, we're making plans for Comic-Con already.
Stay tuned for that, guys. It's going to be a fun up. Maybe I'll bring my suit and maybe I'll interview people in it. Who knows?
Hopefully we'll have a little bit more organization. I know that you guys have been like asking like, okay, well, what happened to the interviews for like FanX? What happened to the interviews for Comic-Con, Gaming Con, like those things? Know that like we are working on those.
It's
just
a lot of stuff to edit.
It is a lot of stuff to edit. We
Be
have
happy,
very
guys.
few.
That's a lot of stuff for a team of 8. Let's be honest.
Be happy, guys.
Yeah.
I didn't take anything out with me to Anthrocon because trust me, I would have had so many questions, so many interviews, but
So know that we are trying very, very hard to get you content, but this is the summer, and a lot of our crew are doing other things other than focusing on the Geekwave.
We'll be bringing you guys
doing
content.
Finals.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, one more thing I want to
Summer classes.
One more thing I want to close out on. I think a magical thing too about Anthrocon was their guest of honor this year was Charlie Adler, and he's a voice actor that was on Rocco's Modern Life. Which, if you're watching, that's the hat right there. Anyway, he does.
I think we need to wrap up.
Yeah, what's his face? You know,
I would love to hear more about it, but we need to wrap up.
Rocco's neighbor's voice, and I saw him on the con floor. I took a selfie with him, and he was really cool about it. And I know that wouldn't have happened at Comic-Con. Their agents would have been like, no.
You have to sit in this curtain room for 3 hours.
Exactly.
And then you get to go to the green room.
He was like, nowhere else. Absolutely, I'll take a selfie with you. And I was like, this has never happened before.
Granted, we had really good interactions with the Overwatch voice actors, and hopefully you guys will actually be seeing that soon.
So guys, honestly, go to this con. Give it support. Go support Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a fantastic city. I'm giving a shout out to the city of Pittsburgh. I'm giving a shout out to the Anthrocon board. You guys host a fantastic convention. I look forward to being there next year. I love everything that you guys have done. Great convention. That's all I can say. And yeah.
Geekwave sends our love.
Geek out.
Geek out.